This is a quick intro to the part 2 of the Gaining Maximum Accuracy series. On the first video I loaded up 25 rounds starting at 25.0 grain and finishing on 27.0 grain of Varget. I did a field test with these bullets and the groups were not good at all. So I double checked the data and I don't know where I got that figures from, but they were wrong. I went onto the website for Hogston and I checked the figures for that bullet, and they should have been starting at 24.0 and finishing at 26.0. I also seated the first batch of bullets at 2.250, from which memory I thought was the maximum SAMI length. It's not. 2.250 is the seating depth of my hunting bullets, so that's where the confusion came from. The max SAMI length is 2.260. So the second batch of testing rounds were seated at the right depth and the groups did improve a lot. These are the three targets that I use mainly. These two, this one here, you can see the 10 with the X, 9 and 8 zone there, and also this one, same sort of thing with your numbers for the zones. These two I mainly use for when I'm using the 2.2 semi-auto. I'll sometimes do some fast target shooting, just trying to practice and keeping it all within the tight group. Mainly in the 10 zone on this one. If I can keep it in the 10 zone on this one, I'm quite happy. Anything in the 9 is not too bad, but I prefer to keep it in the 10. This one here, when I'm doing my fast shooting, that's the one I'll normally use. It's got a bigger zone that I want to try and keep my bullets into, my groups into, and again that's normally what I use my 2.2 on. This target here though is the one that I normally use for when I'm testing bullets or I'm going to be zeroing the rifle. The target's a 1-inch circle and it's got 1-inch grids, and it makes it easier when you're making adjustments for zeroing. And on the bottom here you've got a little info panel that you can write in your distance, your caliber, your powder load and your bullet grain, any other notes that you want to put in as well, like the weather, maybe the wind that was there, the wind direction, just for future reference. That's really it for the targets. During the 5-shot groups, some of the shots were quite far apart from each other. So I've edited the footage and I've cut out the long gaps from in between the shots. It was snowing then, so I was getting a bit of mirage off the snow, off the cold, so the image wasn't quite clear through the scope view, and I didn't want to rush it. So the way it's been edited, it looks like they've been shot pretty quick, but they haven't. I've been taking my time with the shots. The last group is from my already developed hunting round, which is a 60 grain Hornady VMAX bullet. It's a ballistic tip. On the footage there, the third and the fourth shot, I pulled it, so I've ruined the group, but otherwise they would have been probably in the same hole like the other 3 shots were. I also gave it a 1 MOA adjustment to the left, just so it would maybe be a bit easier for you to see the group on the white paper rather on the black dot, because it could be quite hard to see that through footage. So I put it onto the white on purpose so you could see the grouping a little bit better. This is part 2 of the Gaining Maximum Accuracy Developing the Homeload video. What I'll be doing today is testing out the target rounds that I made in the first video. There's been a bit of a change, still using the same rounds, but what actually happened was I did come out and test these rounds, but the groups were absolutely horrible, so I had to go back and see if there was anything I've done wrong. I checked the Hogston website and they gave different data to where I first got my data for the starting load and finishing load. So what I've done is I've actually went away and reloaded another 25 rounds, taking the data from the Hogston website for this particular bullet and powder. So they're actually starting off now at 24.0 and they're finishing at 26.0, going up 0.5 grain per batch. So I'll just do the same, 100-yard target and 5 rounds per batch. And also this time I'll be leaving them for about 15 minutes between batches, just for the barrel to cool down a little bit. You'll probably know the rifle from previous video. It's a Remington 700 223 tactical, standard 20-inch barrel, AC Ultra compact moderator, Bushnell Elite scope, 4.5 to 30 by 50. On the front there I've got an ND3 mount. What I use that for is the Gen 3 night vision for the illuminator. The Accuracy International stock. Apart from that, everything's standard. What I would normally do now is take the 2 best groups and I would load up more rounds, but I would load them up at 0.1 grain apart from each other. So for example, if the best groups were 25.0 and 26.0, I would load 5 rounds of 25.1 and then 5 rounds of 25.2, 25.3 right up to 26.0, because 0.1 grain can sometimes make a big difference on your group sizes. But in this case, the best group by far was 26.0. So what I'll do is I'll load up 15 more, and I'll do 3 more 5-shot group tests to see what sizes that they produce. And what I'm looking for here is the groups to be the same as they were in the first test, or hopefully tighter. I'll also do a demonstration next time on one of the ways that you can test for finding the bullet seating depth for your rifle. Once you find this out, you can play about with the overall length with your different bullet seating depths, and you can see if the groups get tighter. And it's all to do with the amount of space the bullet has got to travel before hitting the lands. Some rifles prefer a bigger jump, and some rifles prefer it with as less jump as possible. So the only way you're going to know is by loading up your best powder measure. In this case it would be 26.0, and then load up different overall lengths and just see if the sizes get better. Okay, so that'll be in the next part.